know. Did you know that sometimes doctors use teeth of dead people to make dentures? And talking about teeth, there's a fish in South America that has human teeth, and for some reason it looks so creepy. If you ever see this cute frog, run away as fast as possible, because it's called a golden poison frog, and it has enough poison to kill 15 humans in a few minutes.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, man, liking each and every video. You guys don't know how much you guys are helping us by just doing those 3 simple steps. You're helping us to connect more people, find fellow seekers. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, man. Seek the truth.
Interesting facts to tell your friends, part 1.
Okay.
Up first, did you know 2 days in your life will not last 24 hours? And those days are the day you were born and the day you will die. This is absolutely insane, and just wrap your head around that for a second. Next, it is almost impossible to speak the biggest word in the English language. And it's on the screen now, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce it.
Me either.
Next up, you only know you fell asleep when you wake up. So next time you're laying in bed trying to sleep, just know you won't know you fell asleep until you've woken up. Next up, you can feel that your toes are touching, but your brain just ignores it. Do me a favor and try and feel your toes touching. I bet you can. Next, 90% of people after a discussion are left thinking of arguments of stuff they could have talked about. And I know I'm 100% guilty of this. Next, our brain generates about 50,000 thoughts a day. I guarantee you can't even write down 50,000 thoughts. Finally, the last person you think about before you fall asleep is the source of all of your pain or all of your joy. So just remember that.
Imagine if you were the last person on Earth. Free food. Explore the unknown. Empty houses. Abandoned cities. Empty roads. Go anywhere you want.
True.
No school. Get any clothing you want. You don't have to worry about corona. Eat whatever you want.
Good eats.
Peaceful sleep. No job. Waking up to silence. Screaming and hearing nothing back.
That's actually scary, though.
Empty malls. Drive as fast as you want. Explore Area 51.
Oh, I'm definitely doing that.
Checking if you're actually alone.
Which of these facts is the hardest to believe? Breathing through your mouth while sleeping increases the risk of tooth decay. People who bite their nails tend to have stronger immune systems.
Really?
Your nose is the same size as your thumb. If you see a bear, don't run. Instead, raise your arms to make yourself look bigger and scream loudly at it. There are more bacteria in your mouth than there are people in the world. If you were offered $1 million, but you have to spend the rest of your life with the second person that appears when you click share and then WhatsApp, would you take the money? Your pinky finger is actually the strongest finger on your hand. Of more facts that you...
I think the one which was the one he was telling the truth is what the one with the bear, how to say you're supposed to make yourself look big, because I've heard that in a couple of videos we actually watch. I learned through these clips, man, we've been seeing. So I'm gonna go with the bear one, man. That's actually, you know, you wouldn't think something like that would work, but I've seen that through a couple of videos, man. If you just scream and shout at the bear, they'll like try to run away. So I'm definitely going with the bear fact one. Or you guys picking something else?
Probably didn't know until now. A lot of us are used to taking flights that last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, but did you know that the shortest flight in the world only lasts 57 seconds. A Logan Air flight between Scottish Islands Westray and Papa Westray only lasts 57 seconds and travels a distance of 1.7 miles. Like, bitch, I could run that. Another fun fact is one about elephants. Did you know, not only do they hear out of their ears, but they can also hear out of their feet? Typically, to hear normal distances, elephants will open their ears like that and scan back and forth to hear. But to help them hear noises that are far away, they'll freeze, lean on their front legs, and that's how they hear. And lastly, we all know and love Pringles. Who doesn't love a good Pringle? The man responsible for creating the iconic Pringles can is named Frederick Bauer, but that's not the fun fact. The fun fact is that when he passed away, it was his dying wish that his remains be put in a Pringles can. His children honored the wish. They even debated over which flavor can they should put him in, and they settled on the original.
Really? What the hell? That's a weird request. Everybody got their final request and they followed it. But to be in a Pringles can? And the original flavor? Might look at that flavor a little differently now.
This Inuit tribe crafted tools out of space metal.
No way.
10,000 years ago, this meteorite landed in the Arctic in northern Greenland. An entire Inuit community sprang up around it just to make tools from the iron in the meteorite, which resulted in badass stuff like this, a spear made from a narwhal tusk tipped with space metal. They didn't even have enough wood to make fires to actually forge the metal, so they had to cold forge it, just hammering it with giant stones until it was the right shape. The tools were so valuable, they were traded as far away as Norway.
Today I was asked
Wow.
who has killed the most people in history, and what I found will leave you speechless. Now, most people probably assume that the answer is Adolf Hitler, the architect of the Holocaust. Others might guess the answer is the Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin, but both Stalin and Hitler were outdone by one man named Mao Zedong. From 1958 to 1962, his Great Leap Forward policy led to the deaths of up to 45 million people, easily making it the biggest episode of mass murder to have ever occurred. In pursuit of this utopian paradise, Mao Zedong herded villagers from all across China into giant people's communes so that everything was collectivized. People had their work, their home, their land, belongings, livelihoods, all of it taken away. In collective canteens, food distributed by spoonful, according to merit, became a weapon used to force people to follow the party's every dictate. Now, historians have speculated that tens of millions died from starvation alone. And it is not only the sheer number of people that were killed, but also the manner in which people died. Between 2 and 3 million victims were tortured to death or similarly killed, and often for the slightest infraction. There's one story of a boy who stole a handful of grain in a commune, and they forced his father to bury him alive. The father died of grief a few days later. Another time, a man had his ears chopped off, his legs tied with iron wire, a 10-kilogram stone repeatedly dropped on his back, and then he was branded with a sizzling tool. And all of this was punishment for digging up a potato.
Man, you would think we would hear more about that in the history books, but this is my first time ever hearing about something like that went down in that history. Really goes to show you, man, how things just get discarded in history, man. You really have to look and find it. There's way more things that's happening in this world that we're unaware of. Whoa.
3 historical facts that will turn your perception of time upside down. Number 3. It's a surprising but very real fact. The guillotine was still being used for executions in France when the first Star Wars movie was released in theaters. In fact, the last execution by guillotine took place in 1977, the same year as the movie's release.
Whoa.
This shows how some ancient practices can persist over time, even in an era of technology and innovation. Number 2. It may seem incredible, but the Tyrannosaurus rex lived closer to our time than to the Stegosaurus. Indeed, the T-Rex roamed the Earth around 68 to 66 million years ago, while the Stegosaurus existed during the Jurassic period, which ended about 145 million years ago. This means there's a gap of nearly 80 million years between these two dinosaur species. This example illustrates the astounding timescale that characterizes the history of life on Earth. Number 1. Cleopatra, the last queen of ancient Egypt, lived closer to the time of the moon landing in 1969 than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The pyramid was built around 2560 BC, whereas Cleopatra ruled from 69 BC to 30 BC. This puts into perspective the longevity of certain ancient civilizations like that of Egypt, and shows how human progress can be both slow and fast.
Really? If you really think about it, man, yeah, it's just It's about the perspective of time. It's all different.
Fun fact, until 1822 we had absolutely no idea what happened to birds in the winter. All we knew were there were birds in the summer and no birds in the winter. And people developed a lot of crazy theories about what would happen to the birds every fall. Some people said they would dive into lakes and hibernate under the ice. Some people thought they would burrow into the ground to hibernate, while other people said the birds would transition themselves into other animals like mice and rabbits in the winter, and then would transition themselves back into birds in the spring.
Really?
A Harvard educator named Charles Morton did propose migration in 1694, but he believed birds migrated to the moon and back. Then in 1822, a German hunter was out looking for dinner near the town of Klutz when he shot and killed a white stork. But when he picked up the bird, he found it already had a 30-inch spear in its neck. Finding this interesting, the hunter brought his kill to the nearby University of Rostock, where scientists found the iron-tipped wood spear to be of Central African origin.
Ooh.
This proved without a doubt the stork had migrated between Europe and Africa, and led scientists down the right path to discover that birds migrate to warmer climates in the winter.
Disturbing facts you didn't
Really?
need to know. Did you know that sometimes doctors use teeth of dead people to make dentures? And talking about teeth, there's a fish in South America that has human teeth, and for some reason it looks so creepy. If you ever see this cute frog, run away as fast as possible, because it's called a golden poison frog, and it has enough poison to kill 15 humans in a few minutes.
Damn.
Now we all know a chainsaw is used to cut wood, right? But did you know it was invented to assist childbirth? And finally, there are still around 40 million slaves around the world, with India having the majority of them at 8 million, mostly kids.
What the more people need to know about that, man.
Weird facts about the world, part 1. It snows in the Sahara Desert. Coca-Cola does not exist in only 2 countries. Colombia's brightest rainbow is in a river. You're always 7 years behind Ethiopia.
Really? What the hell? So what time is it in Ethiopia now?
What happens if you put your head inside of a particle accelerator and turn it on? Kind of like this Hot Wheels loop. Particle accelerators accelerate particles to nearly the speed of light. And this guy, Anatoly Pogorsky, was unfortunate enough to stick his head inside of one while it was on, and this is what happened to him. Scientists use these giant circular machines, also known as atom smashers, to see how subatomic particles like protons behave while traveling at the speed of light, doing tests like crashing them into each other and other complex science stuff. And yes, I said at the speed of light. Well, almost. They get it up to like 99.99999% the speed of light, because 100% is still impossible at the moment, but hey, we're getting close. They do this by accelerating subatomic particles like protons in a long circular vacuum tube that's colder than space. They start off in a smaller loop where they use electric currents from really strong batteries to get the particles moving fast, and magnets to keep the particles on a stable path as they curve through the loop to be fed back into the batteries and get even faster. This feedback loop gets them fast enough until they're fed into a bigger loop to reach even higher speeds. And they inject a second set of protons here so they can play ring around the rosy with each other and just keep getting faster. They're then fed into the final loop where the 2 sets of protons are accelerated in opposite directions so they could collide into each other and do science. This right here would be the Large Hadron Collider, the biggest particle accelerator in the world at 27 kilometers in circumference, where the protons travel the entire circular distance more than 11,000 times per second. So yeah, it's fast. The LHC is in Switzerland and contains 1.8 billion kilometers of wires. Enough to go the distance of not around Earth, but of Earth's entire orbit around the Sun twice. Or from the Earth to the Sun and back 6 times. Anyway, so that's cool and all, but now that we know what a particle accelerator is, let's put our head inside of one. On July 13th, 1978, a scientist named Anatoly Pogorsky was working on the U-70 synchrotron particle accelerator just outside of Moscow, which is much smaller at 1.5 kilometers, but the speeds are pretty much the same. So there was an experimentation room in this lab where the accelerated protons are exposed to open air for a brief moment, and they had bare safety measures in place to make sure that no one walks in when a live beam is going. But Pogorsky showed up to the room 5 minutes earlier than he was supposed to. Somebody forgot to lock the door, and the emergency light that signaled a live beam burnt out. Say hello to Murphy's Law. He enters the room and doesn't realize there's a beam of protons traveling through the open air in front of him because they're both silent and invisible. He bends over to have a look at a few monitors and accidentally puts his head directly into the beam of trillions of protons traveling basically the speed of light. That's 76 billion electron volts of energy passing through his skin, skull, brain, and out the other side. But the craziest part? He felt no pain at all. and there wasn't even a hole in his head. That's because protons are so small that they physically passed in between the empty space of the atoms in his own head. And the voltage didn't stop in his head, it just passed right through it, which is why he didn't die from 76 billion volts. All he reported was his entire field of vision being overcome with a light brighter than 1,000 suns, but a light that only he could see. This light was inside of his head. He kind of tripped out for a sec, but once he realized he was fine, he logged the experience and went home without telling anyone. But the next day, his head started to swell, so he went to the doctors, and they calculated the exact path the protons passed through his head in. Although he survived, in the years to come, he lost hearing in his left ear, started having episodic seizures, and the nerves on the left side of his face were destroyed, freezing his facial expression in place for the last 45 years.
Yo, what's up? These are fun.
So it was like a delayed reaction. Because at first it made it seem like I thought nothing was going to happen. But I said all that energy and protons, man, and we saw it with CERN. I've seen a couple of clips going around about CERN. So we know some crazy stuff goes down there. But the fact that safety measures were just so laxed. And somebody didn't even, because he didn't close the door earlier, it changed somebody's life forever, man. What do you guys think about CERN, though?
Facts about women that are actually pretty crazy. Part 5. Taller women are more likely to have cancer, whereas shorter women are more likely to have smaller babies. I don't think that's a fair trade, but it's not my doings. In Greece, throwing an apple at a woman was considered a marriage proposal. What? Now, if anyone did that in America, and they threw an apple at the woman they were trying to propose to, she would definitely walk up to him and calmly go, "Yo, why'd you throw that apple at me? That ain't cool. Now I'm gonna have to beat you, bruh." 80% of women will ask questions that they already know the answer to, and the reason being is they're not trying to interrogate us, they're just trying to see if we're listening and if we actually care about what they're saying. So, just pay attention, guys. A lot of women lose 2 to 3 hours of sleep every night due to overthinking, anxiety, worry, whatever that may look like. And I'm not saying guys don't do this too, but women are linked to having less serotonin, which helps them go to sleep. So women, if you're still up, get on the Xbox, play some COD, and smack some noobs for us.
Really? You guys believe some of those facts? I think the first one might have been cat, though. Unless there's like studies about it, but I don't know. Whereas Sky, because we see those edits. We experts now.
If you earned $100,000 a day since the day Christ was born till now, you still wouldn't be as rich as Jeff Bezos. We actually know how to make car doors silent when you shut them, but it freaks people out and makes them think it's still open, which means that every car door sound was engineered to sound that way. Nike's famous slogan, "Just Do It," was actually inspired by the last words of a murderer on death row.
What the hell?
Disturbing facts that will ruin your life. When whales reach a certain age, they will eventually be too weak to swim back to the surface for air, so they will just suffocate to death and eventually sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Damn.
When you die, you will be aware that you are dead until the moment your brain fully ceases function. When getting laser eye surgery, you can smell the parts of your eyes being shaved down. During the French Revolution, where the guillotine was introduced, the people to be executed fought to be first, as the blade would dull after multiple uses, and wouldn't cut a head clean off at the first attempt. If you're male, after you die, your loved ones can have a doctor electrocute your prostate to force you to ejaculate for sperm. Humans have enough bite power to bite off their own finger, bone and all. The only thing stopping us is our brain's natural safety factor. A deceased human body can take between 24 to 48 hours to decompress, releasing the remaining blood, urine, and fecal matter, depending on the situation, position, and method of death. If you die on a submarine, they put your body in the fridge with all the food. If not, up a torpedo tube. It's actually common that corpses will periodically burp, fart, gasp, groan as gases escape through the mouth and anus. When you get burned by electricity, it actually leaves marks shaped like lightning on your skin. Hit the plus sign if you want to learn more facts.
You learn the facts out here, man, today. Tap in with us.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 16. Kangaroos are absolutely terrifying, and if you mess with one, it will likely lure you into the water and attempt to drown you.
What?
There's an abandoned Disney park that you aren't allowed to go to, and it was shut down in 1999 because it was infested with free-roaming alligators. The animals were being abused, and an 11-year-old boy died from a flesh-eating bacteria found in the park's waters. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the lion's costume was made out of a real skinned lion. This is the John Lawson house. No one knows who lives there, but every single day, there are several female mannequins sitting on the front porch wearing a variety of clothing. Their positions and outfits change daily, and many believe this is meant to convey some sort of message. And in 1871, a train crash took place just 200 feet away from the home, killing 22 people. And these mannequins are always pointing toward the crash.
Who the hell is putting those mannequins out there and changing them? That's a very weird mystery, man, that we're gonna have to dive into. Because I have to find a backstory about that one. That one is just make my mind turn. Somebody's out there just like setting up the mannequins each and every day. Why are they doing that? What's the reason behind it? It's the questions we need to be asking ourselves.
Here are some fun facts to tell at parties that'll make you seem super cool and likable. In an average lifespan, a person breathes in around 45 pounds of dust and debris. You know how they say dogs' mouths are cleaner? That's because there's more bacteria in a person's mouth than there is people in Canada and the US combined. A man can grow up to 6 feet of nose hair in their lifetime, and up to a 30-foot-long beard if he never shaves. And if you ever wanted to swim in a pool of saliva, it would only take one person at the age of 60 to have produced enough saliva in his lifetime to fill up 2 pools. By the age of 60, a person will have lost 50% of their taste buds. That explains why old people like grits so much. The ear is actually really fragile, and it only takes about 7 pounds of force to rip your ear off.
Really? What the hell? I heard your ears and they keep growing too as well. That's some facts that we learn watching these clips together. It always grows. But I ain't swimming in a pool of saliva. Y'all got that.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, you know, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14.
Really? Now if you think about it, it is right about the laugh tracks. I don't even know if there's still some shows or movies who use it, but why won't they update them? Yeah, that's true. You want something like that in your movies or shows. They need to update those tracks.
Kara Robinson was 15 years old when a man in his late 30s abducted and assaulted her for 18 hours before she outsmarted him. A special thank you to Lifetime for partnering with me and providing the following photos for their movie, The Girl Who Escaped, the Kara Robinson Story, to help highlight 3 ways Kara survived her kidnapping. Number 1. Kara counted the number of turns her kidnapper made, which helped lead authorities straight to his home. Number 2. She memorized important information like the serial number on the plastic container he forced her into, and the names of his doctor and dentist, which were visible on his refrigerator. Number 3. She controlled her emotions, keeping him at ease and gaining his trust. Authorities say Kara's self-control is what may have saved her life because she was able to develop an escape plan, but they had no clue the man they were chasing had killed before. Visit mylifetime.com/watchripped to watch The Girl Who Escaped, the Kara Robinson Story, and all other Ripped from the Headlines movies.
I am so glad that other people are talking about O.J. Simpson's book, because I have, this has been one of my many Roman empires in life, but this was O.J. Simpson's book that ended up, I'm going to tell you the story in a second, but if I did it, is what this book's is actually called, Confessions of the Killer. And here's the story. So he said that this book was a hypothetical account of how he would have committed double homicide if he had done it. So in 2006, a publisher announced that they were going to publish this book by O.J. Simpson. So they received a phone call from an attorney who said that O.J. was ready to confess in a book, I guess. And actually, I thought it was some kind of scam, and I didn't believe him, and I thought, this guy's a lunatic. But I took his number, and I said I'd call him back. So then she did call him back, and of course they immediately bought the book because, what a wild thing. So it sold for $3.5 million, and when it was set to publish, there was a bunch of hype around it. I absolutely remember this. And the victims' families were outraged. Absolutely. They were absolutely outraged. Because don't forget about double jeopardy. At this point, he was tried for those murders and acquitted, so he could no longer be prosecuted for those murders, even if
he said in a book that he had done it. He could be prosecuted for other things, but just not those murders. So after all of the backlash, HarperCollins pulled the book. And then in 2007, Ron Goldman's family obtained rights to the book. They were awarded a $38 million wrongful death settlement against Simpson. And as part of that settlement, they were awarded the rights to the book. So they revised the book, added in their own personal commentary, and then released the book in 2007 anyway. So if you want to buy this book, all of the royalties go to Ron Goldman's family, so I highly recommend it, and like I'm probably going to, because I have always wanted to read this book and just like get a glimpse into how he would have narrated these crimes as he was getting to the point of committing them. It's just so wild to me that this book freaking exists. But I never wanted to buy it because I didn't want to give O.J. Simpson any money, so it's really nice to know that all of the rights go to the Ron Goldman Foundation for Justice. What do you think? Would you read the book?
Did you guys read that book, man? You guys want me to check it out? That's crazy, man. It's called If I Did It. He wrote a whole book about it, man. That's just like, just putting it right in freaking people's faces that you did it. But like I said, the double jeopardy, so you can't even get tried. Crazy to think about how somebody can escape justice like that. Seekers, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you guys are true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, when I drop a video, man, I just need you guys to hit that like button, subscribe, also comment down on the videos, man. It just helps us push this in our algorithm. Even just to say hi, man, just say something down below, just so I know you guys are here. Tell me, man, if you guys are also enjoying these daily uploads. Like I said, I'm keeping the schedule, but next month I might switch it up a little bit, but right now we still continue with the daily uploads. Guys, gonna catch you in the next videos. Man, I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, man. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping in with the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. You're helping us push us in the algorithm, man, so we can reach other peoples, man. We can reach other seekers who's seeking this type of content. So I really appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best. Let's seek the truth.
This is why you should always change your locks. In 2017, a college girl woke up from a nightmare drenched in sweat and decided to rinse off before going back to sleep. She propped her phone on a shelf, turned on some music, and then hopped in the shower. A few minutes later, she reaches for her phone to change the song, but stops suddenly. Reflected on her phone's screen was a person standing in the middle of her bathroom facing the shower. She somehow kept her composure, turned the water to scalding hot, and then ripped open the curtain and sprayed the intruder in the face. As they howled in pain, she ran past them to her kitchen to get her butcher's knife. In a panic, she can't find her knife, so she just runs out of the apartment and calls the police. The police go in and come out with a crazy-looking woman in handcuffs. One of the officers comes over to the girl and says she used to live here and she had copies of your keys. Then he pauses and looks down and brings up a clear evidence bag that contained her butcher's knife, and he says, "Looks like she wanted her apartment back." There's something terrible.
What? So she wanted her apartment back, and because she had a copy of the key, she just went in there unannounced. Can somebody even do something like that, Seekers? Is that even legal? I don't think so, right? People are crazy in this world now. That's insane.
Terrifying going on at Chuck E. Cheese right now, and I'm going to explain it to you. So we all know about the game Five Nights at Freddy's, right? It's a game based around a restaurant that's pretty much like a Chuck E. Cheese, where the animatronics come to life and wreak havoc on all the guests there. But what if I told you this was possibly happening in real life right now?
No way.
Just 2 days ago, 5 children have gone missing inside of a Chuck E. Cheese, and the parents reported a weird smell from the inside of the building. And then just like Five Nights at Freddy's, someone that worked the late night shift actually got killed after hours. Now these are all pretty weird, but here's the kicker right here. Check out this headline. Night shift workers from Chuck E. Cheese claim strange movement from animatronics post hours. So I don't know, what do you think about this? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's fake? And I mean, with 2020 and everything going on, like, I wouldn't be shocked if it was real.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 1. When creating the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, they couldn't create skeletons that looked realistic enough, so they used real human skeletons. Since then, they've removed all but one. Ducks sometimes become cannibals due to boredom, meaning they kill and eat each other. This behavior begins as early as 4 weeks old. Crocodiles are capable of galloping, similar to a horse. Luckily, alligators cannot. And while we're at it, tarantulas can swim. It's extremely common after you die that there will be extreme gas buildup and you will burp after death. And sometimes dead bodies can even sit up on their own. Also, if a pregnant woman dies, the gas buildup in her body can actually forcefully push a baby out. In other words, a post-mortem baby bazooka. Hearing is the last bodily function to go after one dies. So it's very possible that the last thing you ever hear is the paramedic calling off your CPR.
This is why you shouldn't...
Those are some crazy facts for learn seekers, man. That's where you gotta tap in with us, man. I never in a million years would have guessed, man, that tarantulas can swim and he can... he said the alligators, they were galloping? What the hell? This is when they got an upgrade like that, man. I'm telling you, man, you tap in with us, seekers, you gonna learn some new information, man, daily.
Never stay in sketchy motels. In 2005, a young woman on a solo road trip across the country decided to stop for the night. The first place she sees is the Mountaintop Motel. It looked pretty cheap, but she was tired, so she said good enough. The check-in guy eyed her up and down very uncomfortably and then asked her if she was traveling alone. She ignores the question, pays for her room, and then walks away with the key. When she gets inside her room and sees there are literally cockroaches in her bed, she says nope and decides to sleep in her car in the parking lot. Around 3 a.m., she wakes up to see the check-in guy using his own keys to get into the motel room she was supposed to be in. A few minutes later, he storms out and slams the door and starts walking towards her car. Terrified, she hides under her blanket as the man tries to open her car doors but can't and walks away. She speeds off and calls her friend and asks her to look up the address of Mountaintop Motel so she can give it to police. Her friend's quiet for a second and then just says, the Mountaintop Motel closed a week ago. If someone offers you this, walk away. In 2016, a man was staying at his friend's cabin in the woods when he decided to go for an evening stroll. A little ways down the trail, he hears someone call out from behind his neighbor's house. He looks up and he sees this skinny guy pop out from behind the building who starts waving frantically at him to come over. Worried this guy could be in trouble, the man takes off running to assist. But when he gets close enough, the neighbor just offers him a fistful of Slim Jims and starts talking about how much he hates his wife. Sensing there was something wrong with this guy, he says no thank you to the Slim Jims and walks away. The next day, the man calls his friend who owned the cabin to ask him what the deal was with his weirdo neighbor. There was silence on the phone, and then his friend just says, I don't have any neighbors. The police are called, and it turns out his neighbor was really some lunatic who had recently killed his wife and had been hiding out in the abandoned cabin next door. This is why...
That's why, man, my parents always say, don't talk to strangers. Like, he could have been the next... He could have been next, man. He didn't even know. He just offered him some Slim Jims talking about how he didn't like his wife. Like, the signs were there, man. You gotta pay attention to what people say nowadays, man, because every time somebody says something, bro, and if it sounds weird, especially talking about how he hated his wife and just offered him Slim Jims, that's bizarre enough already. And you in the woods at that. He's a brave soul. I don't know how he did it. If I was in the woods, you see somebody you don't know, deuces, I'm out. You ain't getting me.
You always say yes to tandoori chicken. In 2012, a high school tutor and her student stayed up so late one night studying that by the time they were done, the buses had stopped running. Without another way home, the student asked if he could stay the night at her place. Reluctantly, she agreed. When they got back to the apartment, she fell asleep on her bed and he fell asleep on a blanket next to her bed on the ground. A few hours later, she wakes up to the boy standing awkwardly in the middle of the room with a very strange look on his face. She asks him, what's wrong? He looks at her and says, I'm really hungry, let's go get some tandoori chicken. Confused, she says, it's 2 a.m., just get a snack in the cupboard. And he grabs her by the arm and he says, no, we are getting tandoori chicken right now. And he yanks her from the bed. Feeling totally caught off guard by this whole situation, she goes into the hall with the boy, and as soon as the door shuts behind them, she can tell that he is terrified. He looks at her and just says, I'm not actually hungry. When I woke up, there was someone under your bed. This is why you should always trust your gut. In the early 1970s, a college student decided to hitchhike his way home after class. A car pulls up, a man offers him a ride, and he climbs in. As soon as the car started moving, the student felt totally uneasy, like something was wrong but he couldn't quite place it. Without saying anything, he waited till the next time they slowed down and he flung the door open and ran away. 2 years later, he's flicking through TV channels when he comes across this special interview with a death row inmate. And it's just the audio recording, so he hears the interviewer ask the inmate, "Why did you remove all the door handles inside of your car?" The man just goes, "Well, the first time I tried to kill someone, I picked up a college hitchhiker who got smart at some point and jumped out of my car. So, lesson learned, remove all the door handles." When they showed his
he knew.
Picture, the student knew immediately that he was supposed to be the first victim of John Wayne Gacy, aka the killer clown, who had killed over 30 men and boys in his clown room and stuffed them into his basement. This is why you should always trust.
Sorry for pausing 2 times there, man, but I just had to explain this one, bro. That's why people say, man, when you have to trust your gut sometimes, because, bro, your gut, it'll never steer you wrong, man. He had a feeling that something was off, man. As soon as he stopped, he jumped out the damn car. And look what happened. Flicking through the channels. And what came to pass? He was right on the money, man. You gotta trust your gut sometimes, bro. You just have to. Even if everybody's saying, "Oh no, bro." If there's a gut feeling, man, and you don't trust it, then just get away from that situation. That's actually one of the most insane stories you heard, Seekers.
Trust your gut.
Tap in with
In the
us.
1970s, a young couple decided to go for a late-night hike in the woods. A couple minutes into their walk, and the man remembers thinking, something's not right. He tells his girlfriend, but they just decide to ignore it and keep going, until he steps on something that felt really soft, like it was alive. Before he has a chance to see what he stepped on, they hear all this rustling in the bushes next to them, and they bolt. Years later, that couple turns on the TV, and a death row inmate who's about to be executed is being interviewed.
Again.
And they ask him, "Was there ever a time that you were almost caught red-handed?" He responded, "Yes, one time. I was in the woods, and a couple walked through, and the man actually stepped on the body of a girl I had just killed. I was hiding in the bushes just a few feet away. They didn't see me." That couple had run into one of the worst serial killers of all time, Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy.
So supposedly this is what the fallen angel Lucifer looks like. And this is what the moon looked like on March 31st, 2020. I don't know about any of you guys, but this is scary, especially with everything going on in the world right now. Pretty cool!
Let this be a reminder that there really are monsters out there. In 2007, a woman living right near a prison in California got home late one night and went right to bed. Around midnight, she woke up to footsteps on her first floor, assumed it was her roommate, so she goes downstairs to say hi. She yells out to her roommate, who doesn't say anything, and then in walks this giant man who she doesn't recognize. She runs upstairs, jumps in her closet into the crawl space, and hides. As she's helplessly tucked away in this little crawl space, trying not to make any sound, all she hears is this giant man sprinting around her house, running into walls, flipping furniture, and screaming in frustration because he can't find her. Finally, after several hours, she slowly opens the crawl space back up, crawls out, and gets her phone off the nightstand and calls police. As she's telling the police her story, she describes the person who had broken in, and they stop her and say, "Ma'am, go back in the crawl space and stay there. We'll be there as soon as we can." It turned out a 6'11" convicted murderer had escaped the prison and was still on the loose.
Damn. She was living next to prison. I could never do that. I don't see how people can do that. I understand people need houses and stuff, but living next to a prison, that's just like asking for trouble. Because like I said, they have like direct access to the house, and as soon as they escape, they just gonna try to go into one of the people's houses. Word of advice, man, don't live next to a prison. I'm pretty sure I don't have to say that, but you never know. Is that an edit? Yeah, that's an edit. Call it like I see it.
If you scare easily, I wouldn't watch this video. In 2013, a mine explorer found this entrance to an abandoned mine and decided to go have a look around. He decides to film his experience and upload it to his YouTube channel, where he had uploaded hundreds of other videos of him exploring mines, but he never once references the paranormal or ghosts or anything like that until this video. As soon as he steps foot inside, he tells the camera that he has a really uneasy feeling about being there and wonders if he should even keep going, but he does. Everything seems pretty normal until he gets to a section in the mine where there's a bunch of chains hanging down from the ceiling. He hears something in the back of the tunnel, so he pulls his flashlight out and he shines it towards the back, and he sees a chain swinging, and it shouldn't be, because there's no draft and he's all alone, and you can tell he's scared by the way he starts talking. Although he's totally freaked out, he wants to know what's causing the chain to swing, so he goes farther and farther into the mine until he hears something. People whispering in every direction. He gets totally spooked and runs out. If you don't want to sleep tonight, watch the whole video. This is why you should never open your door for strangers. In 2013, a woman let her dog out to use the bathroom one more time before bed. After only a few minutes, she starts hearing scratching on her door, which is typically the sound her dog makes when he's ready to come in. But it just seemed way too soon for him to be done being outside. So she decides to look through the peephole to make sure it really is her dog. But what she sees is terrifying. A deranged-looking man is right outside her door, staring intently at her door handle, waiting for it to turn open. As she's looking in horror, unable to do anything, he starts scratching at the door as hard as he can, never leaving his gaze from the door handle. She manages to stifle a scream, she backs away and realizes her dog is still outside. So she goes to the side window, but there's no sign of her dog, and so she goes back to the door to see if maybe the man's moved. He hasn't moved, his mouth is open, and he's staring directly at the peephole. Then he turns around and walks away. With the man gone, she discovers her dog unharmed, his leash had just been cut. But that means he had a knife.
Terrifying facts about the ocean. Let's get into it. So we've explored
Damn, we didn't even get the terrifying acts of the ocean, man. We've seen a couple of them, man, but I was really excited to see what he had to say, man. These videos were like, I had to find these part 2s for y'all, man. I know y'all I see in the comments y'all be irked like me too, man, when they don't finish off the story. I gotta do a deep dive and find these part 2s for y'all, man, but we're gonna find them. That's crazy, man. There's some crazy facts today, man. There's some crazy stories. You guys, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker. Once again, thank you guys for supporting the channel, for subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, man, hitting that like button, man. Like I said, when you guys do those simple steps, man, that pushes us in the algorithm, man, we can connect with other people, man. We're growing. I see the progress we're making with each and every video, so I'm thankful for you guys. Like I said, we're going to continue to grind. We're going to continue to get better with each and every video. I'm doing daily uploads for you guys. You guys can catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from TikToks to YouTube videos to IG Reels, Facebook, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, man, hitting that like button, man. You guys don't know how much you guys are helping out the channel just by doing those 3 simple steps, pushing us in the algorithm, man. We're finding other seekers, so I appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seek the truth.
The curdling facts that you wish you never knew.
Tell us about
Part 16. Kangaroos are absolutely terrifying, and if you mess with one, it will likely lure you into the water and attempt to drown you. There's an abandoned Disney park that you aren't allowed to go to, and it was shut down in 1999 because it was infested with free-roaming alligators. The animals were being abused, and an 11-year-old boy died from a flesh-eating bacteria found in the park's waters. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the lion's costume was made out of a real skinned lion. This is the John Lawson house. No one knows who lives there, but every single day, there are several female mannequins sitting on the front porch wearing a variety of clothing. Their positions and outfits change daily, and many believe this is meant to convey some sort of message. And in 1871, a train crash took place just 200 feet away from the home, killing 22 people. And these mannequins are always pointing toward the crash.
Tap in, you're gonna learn some
Disturbing
facts with us.
that will ruin your life. There used to be real human remains in the Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean ride. There are at least 200 corpses on Mount Everest. There is no physical evidence to say that today is Sunday. We all just have to trust that someone has kept count since the first one ever. The human brain not only named itself, but it also recognized that it named itself, and was surprised when it realized that. No one knows exactly how anesthesia works anytime they put you under for a routine operation. There's currently no scientific explanation for why you are unconscious. Hit the plus sign if these disturb you.
That last one got me about the anesthesia. So we're pumping our body full of medical supplies and stuff, but we don't even know how it truly works or functions. What happens if something goes wrong or something like that and they can't detect what's going on because they don't know the full extent of anesthesia? I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong, but you guys know what I meant. That actually shocked me, bro, that we still don't know the full effects of that. That's mind-blowing if you really think about it, man. And the fact that the brain named itself? Let's continue, man. Crazy.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all.
Oh, man.
If a person dies in their costume at Disney, like Mickey Mouse, they have to be sat down on a bench so it looks like they're resting. Climate change is making spiders bigger. Some female spiders allow their young to eat them alive. Tooth in the eye surgery is when surgeons put a tooth in a blind person's eye to restore their sight. It was pioneered in the 1960s, and it actually works, and it's still being done today. The chances of a successful CPR outside of a hospital is only 7%. Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. When you suddenly wake up during the night without any reason, there was someone or something staring at you. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 12.
Tap in, man. Especially about the part with the cell phones. That's actually crazy. Watch where you put your cell phone at. It's dirtier than the toilet seat, man. Damn. I gotta disinfect my phone daily now.
The 5 countries in Africa with the strongest juju.
Okay.
At number 5, we have the Republic of Congo. Here, witchcraft is said to be practiced across all ages in the region.
Ooh.
In fact, in a 2013 report, a staggering 50,000 children were accused of witchcraft in the Republic of Congo. Most of the accusers claim that these children had showcased bad behavior and were therefore possessed. Number 4, Kenya. The practice of witchcraft is said to have become so prominent in Kenya that it has been commercialized. In just about every suburb of Nairobi, you will find at least one advert, hand-painted on a little plate nailed up on a pole, advertising the services of a witch doctor. There are also numerous stories of Nairobi women using these witchcrafts to secure men. Number 3, Malawi. In Malawi, there are 2 districts where it is said that the residents partake in advanced levels of sorcery. It is rumored that there are men there who possess the power to travel from Malawi to the USA in seconds. Number 2, Zambia. It is said that the practice is very alive and well in Zambia. There have been several reports of severely sick Zambians who were healed completely after a quick visit to their local witch doctor or traditional healer. Number 1, Nigeria. Nigeria's exploits in this regard has gathered a lot of media attention over the years, with people said to be using witchcraft and sorcery to attain wealth, secure wealthy partners, and battle enemies. Fourth one.
Here's what would happen if you were born on the plane. Let's say you were born on Turkish Airlines. They would have to pay your tuition and you would have free tickets for life. And while flying over a country, you would immediately become a citizen of that country. That's cool. However, in special cases, the airline you are on will also grant you their citizenship. So hopefully, you're on a good airline.
So if you're born over, like, so I'm guessing if you're born on a plane or you're going over the country, you become a citizen, they said they have to pay for your tuition and get a free passport there. And people better be saving money, man. Whoever had their freaking, I guess, kid on the plane where they get dual citizenship. I never knew that.
This is the last thing anyone expected. Just within the last 24 hours, footage of where Ryan Garcia had claimed to be kidnapped has just been released.
Oh, they took me to the woods, bro, and I'm not joking, bro. I have proof, bro. I don't give a
Oh.
Bro, I will show you every video you could ever believe. Bohemian Grove is real. They tied me down and they made me watch, dog. I absolutely don't give up anymore. Yes, I lost it. There will be little kids
Now this is exactly why you can't be playing both sides, because after this video and audio footage was released, he had tweeted on how he has been going through some intense spiritual attacks and constantly fighting demons. And even if you look at one of his most recent conference gatherings, you can see him manifest from one person to another.
First, I want to give glory to Jesus Christ. I want to invite the Holy Spirit to come. I do drink, I do smoke. Now what? Alright, what if I came up there and I fuck out of you, motherfucker?
The orange cat, who was accepted by a herd of capybaras at a Malaysian zoo, has received his own official signage and is now an official resident of the capybara habitat at Zoo Negara. The cat's name is Oyen, and it's believed he lost his mother as a kitten, but he found his family in the capybara habitat, and he seems to think of himself as just another capybara. And the capybaras are just as comfortable with Oyen, happily welcoming him into the herd. He's been seen within the habitat for the past several years, and over time he's become so popular that some people visit the zoo specifically to try to catch a glimpse of him. Because he's such a beloved resident of the zoo, and he's made clear that he intends to stay with his capybara friends, he finally received his official signage in front of the habitat last month. Now, the capybara habitat is officially Oyen's home. Zoo staff has indicated that Oyen and the capybaras are happy and healthy with no signs of distress, so they're happy to let the friendship continue. And while Oyen has been spotted snacking on some leafy greens with his friends, he is fed his own cat-friendly diet by the zoo. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day, and you can see more from Oyen and the capybaras on Zoo Negara's account, which is tagged and in the caption.
It's crazy. He just integrated himself with the herd. Guess that goes to show you, doesn't matter who or what you are, man. Become a part of the herd, they'll accept you, what you are.
There are 800 dead people in this lake.
Come again?
That got your attention, didn't it, you sick son of a bitch? This is Rupkund Lake in the Indian Himalayan mountains. And this remote alpine valley is home to the skeletons of between 300 and 800 individuals. Their bones lie scattered along the lakeshore and constructed into grotesque sculptures by passing hikers. Since its discovery in the 1940s, countless papers, studies, and theories have been put forward to answer one simple question. What happened at Rupkund Lake? Why did so many unfortunate souls lose their lives in this remote mountain pass, and what happened to them? Now, if you've heard of this, you may think you're familiar with the answer, that it was a group of pilgrims that were struck down by hail. But recent studies have uncovered that the truth is much, much stranger. So tonight we're going to go over this mystery from top to bottom. Try and finally answer the question, what happened at Rupkund Lake? YouTube channel, Mini Minute Man. You only see me from short form content? Come check it out. It's like short form, but a lot longer. I'm gonna go put on my wetsuit, and I'll see you there.
Part 24
Man, what
is
happened?
one of the most horrifying stomachanophobia things I've ever seen in my life. This guy is named Brickley, and he's at Disney Springs, and he is a gigantic, huge, 50-foot long, 25-foot tall dragon entirely made out of Legos.
Whoa.
A lot of people, he might not be scary. He's kind of silly looking, but the fact that he is absolutely ginormous is actually horrifying to me. His massive head alone is about twice the size of a human being. Nope. He's also made of about 3 million Lego bricks. I know you think, like, oh, I could deck him. I could just make him explode. I'm pretty sure he's glued together with, like, super glue, so you couldn't do that. That was definitely my first thought, that I could take him in a fight. Also, he's been there for about 30 years, so you can see the corrosion starting. I can't imagine what it looks like underwater. How about this? Does this scare you, or is it just silly?
It's been there for over 30 years? I wonder who built him.
Never say this out loud, or you will die. There's a cursed Japanese poem called Tornado's Hell. And supposedly, if you read it out loud, you will die or be cursed for life. Now, you can read it in your head. This is where things get crazy. A man named Shuji Terayama decided to make and direct a movie based on the poem. Exactly 1 week after the release of the movie, he suddenly dropped dead. By the way, y'all, I asked y'all to name our new baby, and the highest voted name was Steve. So I guess when this guy hatches, his name will be Steve.
Since we got this baby together, you do owe me child support.
Now this other story is also crazy. There was a schoolgirl that was dared to say the poem out loud. Look, you got friends daring you to do stuff like that. You need to get rid of them. Literally 1 week after doing the dare, she suddenly dropped dead.
Woo, look at that, baby. Look at that. Sheesh.
I flashed the poem somewhere in this video, but I'm telling you, if you find it, don't read it out loud. Or I'm gonna come to your funeral and tell everybody you're stupid. You're stupid.
I ain't reading that poem. Too many bad energy, too many bad signs.
The Power of Time. This sculpture at an abandoned cemetery in Poland is slowly being absorbed by entire tree. The
Whoa.
black spots on this dog faded over 10 years. I didn't know it could happen. Phones now versus phones 20 years ago. Which one would you pick?
Ooh.
This father and his daughter and cat 10 years apart. Adorable. These two brothers returned to Chernobyl and recreated the same pictures after 30 years. And the tiny car was still there. Subscribe for more.
How the hell they get into Chernobyl? Isn't that where that it's like one of the most radioactive places on Earth? How the hell were they able to travel there? Were they even let inside there? It's crazy. And everything was still the same 30 years later? Just goes to show you, man, how nothing's around that place. It's completely desolate. There's this guy, man. We know we can spot the edits, man. When we see these clips, we can spot them, bro. We experts now.
Oh shit!
What the fuck?
Yeah, that video's fake, but this is as real gets. Proof that dinosaurs never left, they just rebranded with feathers. Allegedly, this is a stellar sea eagle. Many would say the biggest eagle on Earth, although some would like to have a word. And in fact, here's the biggest eagle in your area code based on where you live. South America, you get the homicidal hippogriff, the harpy eagle. A buckbeak-coated middle finger to the food chain. Nature gave them short wings, and they used them to commit flybys in a dense jungle. They also have claws that could dap up a grizzly bear. With America, we got the golden eagle, also known as a final destination for goats and chamois. That's a chamois. This bird will make an honest attempt on the life of anything with a pulse, which is why they have a hit list of over 400 animals. The African crowned eagle is like the harpy of the motherland. Same short wings, same claws, same problems. They've also allegedly murked small children, and the famous Tongue's child, which you see right here, is widely believed to have been escorted off the census by an African crowned. Wedge-tails are the dinosaurs Australia deserves. Not only will they run fades with kangaroos, they'll fly anything in their presence, and you're liable to get drone strike. This is the Philippines eagle. If you've never been flexed on by a bird, get absolutely mauled. It's a monkey eater that also has an argument for being the biggest op in the sky. Although they're endangered, so really they should be afraid of us. Moral of this video, the most devious trick dinosaurs ever pulled was convincing you they left in the first place.
Have you heard about this man who passed away while squatting 400 pounds? 33-year-old Justin Vicky was a bodybuilder and personal trainer with more than 30,000 followers on Instagram. Justin was a regular at the Paradise Gym in Bali, but on July 15th, 2023, he attempted to squat a total of 400 pounds, but things went horribly wrong. Mind you, this was all caught on camera, but I don't want to upload it because of TikTok's policies, and I don't want this video to get taken down. But basically, during one of Justin's sets, he failed to lift the bar back up, and it snapped his neck. He only had this person spotting him, which a lot of people have said that he should have had at least 2 other people on both sides to support him in case something like this happened. This video shows the moment Justin falls forward and his neck gets crushed. It was reported that the force of the weight broke Justin's neck and compressed the vital nerves that connected to his heart and lungs. He was rushed to the hospital where he unfortunately passed away.
You know, I don't think I really hate any animal. Every animal has a purpose, except this. I hate this bird, I hate everything it stands for. In fact, if he had an Antarctic Antichrist in its cast, that movie would have been a snuff film. This is a giant petrel, but if you're a sailor, you probably know it by its street name, the Stinker. Because this satanic seagull on steroids is a meal plan of rotting, decaying, disease-ridden foulness I can't even imagine. Or maybe I just don't want to. And like an air-conditioned vulture, they have the same table manners, meaning they'll pull up to a corpse and start eating it from the softest point. So if you ever peep this flying, confident, red-faced, no, it just got done tossing an expired elephant seal salad, which makes their choice in self-defense somehow more offensive. Press a petrol or its kid, and they'll projectile vomit vile-smelling, corrosive stomach oils right to the face. Oils that are so acidic, they can actually strip the waterproof coating off other birds' feathers. You know, I said vultures, and that's not fair. At least vultures usually wait for you to die. Petrels do no such favors. Pain and paralysis demon will snatch up miners like Dan Schneider and rip them open alive. And remember, the Stinker will pull organs right out the poop chute. The freeze-dried booty bandit has been known to drown other birds like the Australian gannet. You wanna know what this predatory prostate exam is? This is if hyenas had wings. And don't think they just go after chicks. If they find an injured penguin, they will personally speedrun the process. Well, actually not speed, because again, the anal undertaker don't wait for you to pass tense. It's like the booty warrior from Boondocks came back as a bird. Blights in the animal kingdom with a negative rice purity score with a wingspan that can reach a shack. Alright, I'm done. They're not that bad. I just don't like the way they sound.
They're crazy, man. That's Black Air Force energy right there.
The red heifer sacrifice ritual. What is it really? Let me summarize this for you.
Okay.
In Judaism, Jewish people are impure, and for them to be purified, they must sacrifice a very rare breed of red cows known as the heifers. Now, the cow must pass a certain list of criteria, like having no spots, never bred, must be a certain age, doesn't have black or white hairs, etc., etc. And then afterwards, they must light this cow on fire, involving some cedar wood and sage. I'm not really aware of the technicalities. But then they use the ashes of this cow for purification of the Jewish people. This sacrifice ritual must be done in Jerusalem, facing the third temple location, which is the Aqsa Mosque. These cows are super rare. The last time this ritual was done was 2,000 years ago. Israel has found 5 cows that meet this criteria in Texas. They bought them for $500,000 and then flew them to Israel over a year ago. And the sacrifice will commence in Jerusalem before the 8th of April, which is next week. But what is the purpose of this sacrifice ritual? Number 1, purification for Jews. And number 2, the coming of their Messiah. And to us Muslims, this Messiah is the Dajjal, the Antichrist. It is not the Messiah that we await. This is not an ordinary sacrifice. This is a sacrifice to the devil. I'm sure some of you will say in order for the Dajjal to come, he's not supposed to be mentioned in the minbar for many years. But I can argue with that because the Dajjal has not been mentioned on the minbar in most regions for many, many years. So is he coming?
Okay.
Probably, yes. If they do the red heifer sacrifice, destroy the Aqsa Mosque, and build a third temple, he will come.
A lot of information, man. All those clips were shown to us. It's crazy.
This is the scary story about the woman in the night. A young man moved into an apartment building. The first night he slept in his new apartment, he was woke up by somebody knocking on the door at 1 o'clock in the morning. He got up and opened the door, and standing there was a young woman. She apologized for waking him up and told him that she was his neighbor. She said her husband was beating her and asked if she could spend the night on the sofa. The man felt bad and let her stay the night even though it seemed strange. The next morning, he checked the living room and discovered that the woman was already gone. He assumed that her husband and her made up. But that night, at the same time as before, the same girl was knocking on the door. The man opened it and she said her husband had beaten her up again and wondered if she could spend the night on the sofa again. He said yes, and the next morning when he got up, the woman was gone again. The man grew suspicious and asked his landlord about the strange neighbor. The landlord's face grew pale and said nobody lives in that apartment. He said a woman who lived there died 1 year ago after being beaten to death by her husband.
So what the hell was going on? Was he like communicating with a spirit or something? Someone's playing like a sick joke because he kept coming to the apartment like same night after night at the same exact time, dude. Is that just a story? Got a lot of theories swirling around in my head right now after that clip played.
They kidnapped her for 44 days straight. Damn. The whole time, the 44 days, they were torturing her during these 44 days. It wasn't just those 3 guys that tortured her. Yeah, Denzel told me on the Yakuza, there was at least 100 Yakuza members who came and helped torture her. One day, she caught them slipping, got the phone, tried to call the police. One of the guys saw, slapped the phone out of her hand, and he was mad, right? So I think they took lighter fluid and burned parts of her. The crazy thing is, she survived that. No way. Yeah, a couple days went on. They were playing a game. The girl beat the guys at the game. They're even more mad. They're like, what the fuck? So her again. This one she died, and then I think to end the story, they put her in this little like casket thing where there was cement, and they buried her alive. I think the police found out. The main guy, he was locked up. Yeah. But the other guys, the police didn't want to put out the names because they're all minors that did the shit. So they're all free right now. Damn. Yeah.
Terrifying sounds extinct animals used to admit, and the last one's the worst. If you don't know this extinct mega chicken, you must be living your life under a rock. This is a dodo bird. 3 feet tall, 45 pounds, and a pair of chicken wings that are more useless than a penguin's. It can make an omelet for a family and produce a sound that would cause me to move to Mars. The lizard that got into your bag of trend, the velociraptor. Or should I say Jurassic myth, because they didn't look like this this at all. Hollywood lied to you.
Oh.
At least the film's fuck-up looks more like a Utah raptor. This is actually what a velociraptor looks like. It's basically also just a giant chicken. Moving 25 miles per hour and hunting in packs isn't the scary part. It's the way they sound. The only difference between this next animal and my meat is that it went extinct, the Titanoboa. And if this BGC's length at 50 fuck-no feet isn't impressive enough, how about its 3 feet in girth? This twisty telephone pole could squeeze at 400 psi, crushing any 20-foot crocodile that lived at the time.
Ooh.
And this no-bro makes a sound like no other. The extinct blubberbuzz that used to swallow the megalodon, the leviathan whale. This living sea monster is a distant cousin of our daily sperm whale. Except unlike the living load we have today that primarily consumes giant squid, the leviathan had no predators and ate everything. And the sound alone is enough to terrify me. Congratulations, you made it to the final animal. And I'm sorry you have to hear this, but the T-Rex doesn't actually look this way. Real-life Reptar looks much more terrifying with a haircut like Grandpa.
Ooh.
And boy, do I have news for you. Their arms weren't useless. It said that they could have bench pressed up to 400 pounds. And did I mention they can also swim? The sound they made is weird, but the closest relative they have alive today is also weird. It's the chicken. I'm so sorry it had to end this way. Enjoy.
What? T-Rex true sounds, bro? That's crazy to even think about, man. I had never knew the T-Rex and the chicken were, like, I guess, relatives or distant relatives. And the designs I'm about to see, we seen all the Jurassic Park movies, man. Shit, they know it's Hollywood, so you know they was probably gonna like lie on the designs. But I guess if you show the designs of the Jurassic Park movie and the true, like, actual T-Rex, or like I said, the Velociraptors, they're completely different, man. It goes to show you how much freaking Hollywood has, like, brainwashed people, man. People just take it for what it is. You gotta do your actual own research. See, crazy. If you guys made it with me to the end, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Tell me down below, guys, what you guys think of these clips that we reviewed today. Also, man, tell me down below what can I also do to improve the channel. I'm always looking to improve, so I appreciate all the feedback. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe. The super thanks is also available. I turned that on. We're continuing to grind, man. We're gonna continue to post daily. Guys, I'm catching the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.